Toro came out with an inverter that's going to allow you to have 2.5 amps of AC output at 120 volts. This dude's going to give you two different USB outputs, a USB-C and a USB-A. Very nice unit if you're going to use this for something simple. I'm going to go through the voltages, the hertz, kind of just show you what it is. This is supposed to be pure sine wave along with the Milwaukee stuff that's out here. Now I carry the Milwaukee in the summer and I'm going to carry this Toro in the winter. That's based on the equipment that I have in the truck and where the battery systems are. So I'll always have two Toro batteries in the truck in the winter, and this will help me out greatly. So you guys are probably wondering, why carry a power bank with you when your truck has USB-A and USB-C outputs? Most likely. I do not have an inverter in my truck, so I don't have a 120 outlet. But either way, when I turn my truck off, my USB outlets turn off. So I want to make sure that I have that so I can charge my Ear Pro in the summer or whatever else I might have, flashlight, or my flashlights, my heated stuff, anything I might have. I want to be able to charge that through this if I'm sitting somewhere, and then I have my 120 for anything else that I have. And if I have my phone that needs to be charged and the truck's off, I can always plug it in here. Lots of little reasons. It's cool to have, especially when it's cold out or if your Ear Pro is in there. And I always have this Toro battery in the winter, Milwaukee battery in the summer. So this works. This dude's $119, but I don't want you to get in trouble. This Toro is 300 watts, so it's 2.5 amps. This is going to put out about 120 volts, which is good. 2.5 amps is just perfectly going to fit this DeWalt charger. So we can turn this guy on. You'll see that turns green. That will turn off very quickly if it senses it doesn't have power. There'll be a fan that you can see here. We have some green lights that are across the top. This fan's going to roll, this fan's going to roll soon, and we are up in charging this DeWalt battery. Now if we look at it, we have a 7.5 amp hour 60 volt battery here. It's going to take some efficiency away because we are going from DC to AC and then putting something back into a 6 amp hour battery over here, albeit 20 volt. So you're not going to be able to effectively take all the power out of this, move it over and charge. Now, here's something that's interesting. We overloaded this, so it turned itself off. This is rated at 2.5 amps. So you have to kind of wonder sometimes what's going on here. Hopefully you guys can see this right up top here, 2.5 amps. Pause it if you can't. That's what it's rated for. It shouldn't have turned off, but it did. So there's some safety features in here that are going to work, which is good. Now the kicker of this is what it actually puts out. So if we go into this here, turn this guy back on, turn on our Fluke. 122 volts, which is great. I've looked at a lot of power stations. They come through, they like to run in the 110 area. But what gets me is that I switch over to hertz. Now I'm at 60.89. Now watch this and watch it close. Watch it move. And as we sit here for a little bit longer, oh, there it goes. Went down to 58. Boom. 58. And it starts bouncing around, not holding 60 even. There it goes. Bounce down again. So it bounces around and it bounces down to 58 or 55. I can't tell. It's pretty fast on this Fluke. So it's not perfect. Now with that said, we can pull this out and move over to Milwaukee's. Turn this guy on. We're still on hertz. We're at 64 hertz. We should be at 60. So we're a little high. We're running 119 volts. Go back, 64 hertz. This one doesn't bounce around as much. It's just higher. So our cycles per second are higher here than they are over on anything else and what they should be compared to the grid. This should be 60 like on spot. So with that said, you're not getting the most safe electricity and probably not going to damage something, especially if you have a rectifier or in anything else. You have 175 watts over here, so we can easily plug in a computer. This guy is 65 watts, says it right here. We are able to charge this computer, no issue. We could run it, do anything off this, but we are taking up almost half of what this top off will put out. I know you've seen other people say, oh, we're running our whole set off this top off. It's only 175 watts. That would be pretty tough considering that this dude is 300 watts, almost double, and turned off on us because we were using a 6 amp or 2.5 amp 120 volt charger. So you got to be careful what you're using. But if you want to charge things or do anything with the USB on this, very nice. It's turn it on, life's good. We can charge this guy up. It'll last for a long time. It'll do like 7 phone charges without issue. It'll charge your computer 4 or 5 times. It'll do all kinds of great stuff. Just be careful with the AC output and don't plug something into it that isn't going to be perfectly happy with not so great power. So I'm currently charging our little neck light from Milwaukee and also have our computer on, and you can hear the fans running here off our Toro system. Now, one of the things that's different than the Milwaukee is that when I turn the power button on, I am turning on both USBs and the AC adapter. So no matter what, I'm using a little bit more power because the unit's saying, okay, I'm going to be ready to push out any AC current even though it's not being used. So that inverter situation is actually running and probably going to drain this battery a little bit faster because of the inefficiency of having that running all the time when you still might only be using the USB outlets. It is what it is. It's just one of those things. We can turn that off. And you will see in a second, this light will turn off. So without the power on, we don't have either the USB or AC outlets running. Turn the AC outlets and the USB, power comes back on. So the Toro might not last as long. If you're looking at the Milwaukee, which is totally nice, just less power, you have the option to turn on the USB or to turn on the AC. And again, neither one are perfect. But with that said, they do have a lot of uses for people who are out on the road. I guess you could use it camping, fishing, hunting, hiking. I mean, there's a million different uses. You got to pick out what works for you, but know what they'll power. 300 watts is not going to do an electric blanket. It's not going to do anything that gets warm. It's not going to do a crock pot. It's not going to cook anything. It's going to be very minimal. 2.5 amps is not a lot, and even less with the Milwaukee. So you need to really pick out what you're going to do. If you think about this in terms of a light bulbs, I know we have LED, but 100 watt light bulb, you probably couldn't run 3 of them off this Toro. You might get 2. You're going to only be able to get 1.5 off the Milwaukee. So there's not a lot of power there, but there is. You just got to figure it out. Either way, comments below. Talk to me about the hertz. There's got to be an electrical expert out there that's going to tell me why these hertz are all over the board and what it's going to do to your electronics. I will pin that if someone comes up with a great answer. I appreciate your time. Give us a like in this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.